RCK Productions.
What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. It is Billion Dollar Builds, episode 20, where I build every car in the game. I gave myself $1 billion, and we build them out to every class, so no matter what you want to drive it in, I've got you taken care of. Sly QT paired up with me on this one. We have got drift builds for B through S class. S plus, good luck. It's actually not that bad, so we're not going to meme it today. No show and tell, as I have been recently. But let's dig into it. Let me show you B class, and then when we get to A class, we'll show you Slide's build, and I've got a link down below for his A class, like basically record-setting run in this car. It's really pretty cracked, so if you drive it correctly, it can be very fast. Let's dig into it. Let me show you what we've got. This car is sweet. I had the pleasure of driving one of these in real life, and they are really special. Very lightweight, very tossable, a lot of fun to drive. So if you ever get a chance to see one at Cars and Coffee and the owner's really cool and maybe he'll let you sit in it or something, definitely do that. It's really tight. All right, so for the B class, second engine over, that's the stock engine. It is the 2.4 liter inline 6, 151 brake horsepower when we start. That is the Iron Basic engine, and we go up from there. Now parts, it's Silver Pro induction, Iron Basic ECU and fuel system, Sport Bronze exhaust, and then you're gonna do the Super Gold screw supercharger, stock nitrous, and then Elite Platinum road suspension, Sport Bronze stock brakes, and then Elite Platinum grip tires, stock clutch, and then you're going to put the 4-speed transmission in it, Sport Bronze 4-speed. Make sure you put that in there. If you have the 5, it doesn't fit in the class, and you guys will be in my comments wondering why it doesn't work. Elite Platinum differential, and then auxiliaries, yes, put them in the car. For the handling slider, slide it all the way to the left, full Beyonce, 60% grip, which is okay. It's a little rowdy, but it does get it done. Steering sensitivity is your personal preference. Downforce is dead set middle. You can go higher and you can go one click lower, but then everywhere else is A160, but in the middle's fine. It doesn't really hurt you. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That's going to give you the grip version of this car. 231 for the horsepower, 227 on the torque in foot-pounds, and 137 for the top speed. It'll do about 140 in B class. It's not bad. It's not a cheese build, so it'll get walked by some of the crazy horsepower cars, but it's pretty good and it looks stunning. I love the way this car looks. Let me show you the drift build for B class. For the B class drift, it's the same engine, so stick with me. I'm going to try to condense some of this stuff so that way we can shorten the video. It is the 2.4 liter inline 6, stock engine, second engine over. It is Sport Bronze induction, and then Iron Basic ECU fuel system, Sport Bronze exhaust, and then Elite Platinum screw supercharger. So we get to cram a little more horsepower for the drift. It's Sport Bronze nitrous, Elite Platinum road suspension, stock brakes, and then Elite Platinum drift tires for you slidey boys. Same thing, stock clutch, and then keep the 4-speed transmission. You gotta have it, and then make sure you run an Elite Platinum diff. Auxiliaries, yes. Now, here's the thing, for the handling slider, for your drift setup, you can go from 35 all the way to 100%, so put that anywhere you are comfortable. Slide runs at around 60 to 70, but you can start at 35 and work your way up. So just go what's comfortable for you and do whatever you like. Steering sensitivity, that's personal preference, and then as long as you keep the downforce all the way high, that's where you can keep that drift slider. And then as you tier this up, you can tier this down. So it just really depends on where you put your drift slider at, then you can adjust the downforce to match that. Traction control off, drift entry is brake tap. That's the drift setup. 138 for the top speed, 235 horsepower, 231 in foot-pounds for the torque. It's pretty good. It gets it done at B class, but like I said earlier, it is not a cheese car, so it's kind of limited on how it's going to perform overall, but it does get a little stronger as we get into the A class, so let me show you that setup now. For the A class, it is more of a top speed style build. It's better at drift, but if you want to drive the grip-in version, this is it, so stick with me here. The engine is the same. It's the stock 2.4 liter inline 6, second engine over, and then we go Sport Bronze induction, Iron Basic ECU, Silver Pro fuel system and exhaust, and then you're going to put the Elite Platinum single turbo in it. With the single turbo, we were able to get a little more horsepower, a little more top speed, and that is what we are chasing with this build specifically. It's pretty good at A class, but if you are learning to drift, it's much better in the drift format because you get a little more power out of it. And then we're running Elite Platinum road suspension, stock brakes, and Elite Platinum grip tires, as I do. And then stock clutch, 4-speed transmission, pretty consistent there. And then differential, yes, Elite Platinum. Always these days, make sure you put your aux in because they work. 60% grip all the way to the left, full Beyonce, steering sensitivity, whatever the fuck you want. Downforce all the way low to all the way high. You can put that wherever you like. If you go all the way high, sometimes you can cram some brakes in there, but in this case, I don't give a shit about brakes because whatever. We are using boost to turn and not brakes to turn. You guys should know that by now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check the link at the end of this video. Click on that, learn how to use boost. It's really good. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That's the Gripium setup. 161 for the top speed. It gets there and it does all right. 298 on the horsepower, 258 on the torque in foot-pounds. Some of you guys are in oppression units and running Newton meters and you're wondering why our numbers are different. That's why. Anyway, it's not bad. Let me show you the drift setup, which is actually good enough for Slide to make a video on, which will be linked down below. Please pay attention. There's a trick to get this to fit with these parts. If you skip this and you just take a screenshot, guaranteed you're not going to get it and you're going to be in the comments. And it's good at A class, so make sure you don't mess this up. Pay attention, boys. All right. Engine, stock engine, 2.4 liter inline 6 is what we're using on most of it. Okay, cool. Here's the deal. It's Silver Pro induction, Sport Bronze, ECU, fuel system, and exhaust, Elite Platinum single turbo. Cool, makes sense. 308 brake horsepower, 250 or 265 on the torque in foot-pounds. All right. Everything else, follow along. Sport Bronze nitrous, Elite Platinum road suspension, stock brakes, Elite Platinum road tires. You have got to have these tires. Otherwise, you cannot do the trick. Stock clutch, 4-speed transmission. Okay. Any other transmission takes us way out of the class. So 4-speed. Elite Platinum diff. You have to have the Elite Platinum diff. Auxiliaries, whatever. Handling. Here's the deal. Slide the slider all the way to the right. 80% drift. Steering sensitivity doesn't matter. Downforce all the way high. It has to be all the way high. Otherwise, this doesn't work. Cool. So you'll see that with downforce all the way high and 80% drift, it's A plus 210. If I go one tick to 75%, it's still A plus 210. Weird. How are we going to make it fit, Cornnut? This is how. 80% drift. Make sure it's all the way to the right. Downforce all the way high. Back out. Go to your parts. Go back into the suspension once you've already bought the Elite Platinum suspension. We're going to go to 78%. You are going to purchase the Super Gold road suspension. Buy it, equip it. Now you are at A class 209 with 78% drift. Do you guys see this right here? Right here over on the side. I'll zoom in. A209 with 78% drift. Once that is equipped and the slider slides over to 78%, go back, equip the Elite Platinum road suspensions, and touch nothing. If you touch anything, it takes it back out of the class. That is how to get this car into A class 209. And if you mess with the downforce, the handling, or anything after this point, it'll take it back out of the class. So you have to do it as the last step. That's going to give you 164 top speed, 308 on the horsepower, 265 on the torque, at an A class 209 with 78% drift. It's a cool trick that we started here on the channel. Nobody else was doing it. And I'm really happy that it actually works in this car. We can bring it to you because it kind of reinforces that there's nobody else out in the world doing it this way. And those of you that just take a screenshot of the build and then wonder why it doesn't fit is because you don't pay attention to the whole video. All right, cool. That's the setup for drift. Slide dialed it in. It's perfect and it's really quite fast. Take a look at the link down below. There'll be a card on screen right now that you can click on up here, way over to the right, way over there. And then that'll be a link to his video as well, and then come back and do the rest of the builds. All right, let me show you what we've got for A+. A+ class has got a totally different engine, so buckle up, Buttercup. It's a little bit smoother here. All right, we are running the 6th engine over. It is the 2.0 liter inline 4, 366 brake horsepower. When we start, we go up a bit from there. Do not be deceived here, guys. The power and the torque look low, but it's overall a pretty fast, pretty punchy little car. And I would encourage you guys to build it at both A and A+, because it's pretty damn solid. All right, so the build is pretty straightforward. It's stock parts. It's stuck at bronze, so stay there. And then all you do is slap in a set of dual super gold twin turbos. So easy stuff. And then stock nitrous, elite platinum road suspension, stock brakes, elite platinum grip tires, clutch, stock, 4-speed stays the same. We're out here. And then run the elite platinum differential, handling slider all the way to the left, 60% grip, full Beyonce to the left, steering sensitivity 2 clicks high, downforce all the way high. You have a few clicks you can play with in there, but all the way high works. Doesn't really change a whole lot. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That is A+ Gripium, 176 top speed. It does get there eventually. It's not too bad. 392 on the horsepower, 424 on the torque. Building out the other engines for grip, you can get a little more horsepower, but you're sacrificing a lot of torque. This has got the most overall balance if we're looking at horsepower and torque between all the engines that we can build out, and I'm most happy with this one. So this is what I'm going to recommend, and I think you guys really will enjoy it. It's a pretty good car. Let me show you the drift setup. For the drift setup in A+, there's two different engines you can use. You can use the stock engine. It gets a little more horsepower, but this one's got more torque and more punch, and overall it's better. So in this case, this is what I'm going to recommend you guys. So it is the same engine that we used for the grip. It's the 2.0 liter inline 4, 6th engine over, a 366 brake horsepower, Silver Pro induction, and then stock bronze ECU fuel system and exhaust. And then you're going to go super gold roots supercharger. The screw doesn't fit. You got to go roots here. It works. And then we're using Sport Bronze Nitrous, Elite Platinum Road Suspension, stock brakes, Elite Platinum Drift tires, stock clutch, 4-speed transmission. Make sure you've got that in there. 4 gears, no better. And then differential, yes, make sure you've got one. Auxiliaries, put them in the car. 75% drift is where the handling slider lands here. There's a couple spots you can go above that, but 75 is about the max you would want to push it. That's what Slide said as well. Anything more than that is just too much. Steering sensitivity, personal preference, downforce all the way high. Cool, easy clap. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That's going to give you 403 on your horsepower, 441 on your torque. It's a good balance. Like I said, you can get more horsepower out of the stock 2.4 liter i6, but it doesn't have as much torque. This is the better engine to build on, and so that's what I'm going to recommend to you guys to do. Overall, it's pretty snazzy. I like it a lot. Let me show you what we've got for S. At S class, the drifters have more power. So as grippers, we literally had to take like 9 points of value out of the car to make it all fit in the class when we slide the slider to the left, so that kind of sucks, but hey, we're out here. So here's the setup. The engine is the same that we were using in A+. It is the 6th engine over, 2.0 liter inline 4, 366 brake horsepower when we start. For the parts, it is Sport Bronze induction, Elite Platinum ECU and fuel system, Super Gold exhaust, and then Elite Platinum Roots supercharger. Sport Bronze Nitrous, Elite Platinum Road suspension, stock Sport Bronze brakes, Elite Platinum grip tires. Clutch stays stock, and then make sure you do change the transmission. The 5-speed is the only transmission that fits with these parts. It's weird, it actually takes away like 3 points by doing that, so slap in the Sport Bronze 5-speed, otherwise it won't fit. And then Elite Platinum differential. Auxiliaries, yes. 50% grip. I was sacrificing grip to try to get as much horsepower in this car as I possibly could, so here's where we landed. So 50% grip, steering sensitivity, you do you. Downforce, 1 click to the right of center, and then all the rest of the way. That is all S329. You can't go lower, but you can go higher than that if you want. And you might, because we are playing with a little less grip, but it'll be all right. It's minor changes at that point, and that's more of a preference thing once you get to know the car. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That's how I do it out here. 199 for the top speed. It'll do like 205 with some redline tech, pretty damn solid. 591 for the horsepower, 592 on the torque. So it's dead nuts even foot-pounds to horsepower, which is pretty awesome. But let me show you what the drifters have, because it's like 19 more horsepower in it. I hate it. Like I said, the drifters have got more power, but it's the same engine. So we are using 6th engine over, 2.0 liter i4, yada yada, same. Super Gold induction, Elite Platinum ECU, Super Gold fuel system, Elite Platinum exhaust, Elite Platinum screw supercharger. Those drifters get the best inductions. Sport Bronze Nitrous, Elite Platinum Road Suspension, Sport Bronze Brakes, Elite Platinum Drift Tires, and then stock clutch, 5-speed transmission. Same deal, doesn't fit with any of the other ones, so make sure you put the 5-speed in there. Differential, yes, Elite Platinum if you want, but you can actually play with pretty much any of these. But if you want the most out of the slider, put the Elite Platinum in there. Auxiliaries, yes. Handling, here's the deal. You have from 60% all the way out. You can go anywhere on that slider you would like, as long as you were at least at 60%. It's pretty nice. So that allows you to really tune the car to your preference, and that's one of the advantages here. Steering sensitivity is my preference, and then downforce, if you are dead set middle, actually you can go from there all the way right. So anywhere in that handling slider for downforce that you want, go with it. It's kind of a preference thing. It's not going to make a huge change, especially when you're sliding the car, but probably lower a little better. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. That is the Driftium edition of S-Class. 201 for the top speed, 610 on the horsepower, 605 on the torque. So it's literally just upped the numbers on both ends of things from the grip version, and it's just a little faster all the way around the board. So if you are a drifter, you do have the advantage here. Let me show you the build for S+. S+, not a meme. It's actually a really fun car to drive. It is not a Regera, so whatever. It's also not the R8, so whatever. But if you're looking for an off-meta car to run an S+ and maybe take some dubs, this is pretty solid. So let me show you what we have here. Out of all the engines to build out, the 2.9 liter V6, the 7th engine over, is the one to build. You get the overall best performance out of it. So grab that engine. I built out the 7.0 V8 as well. It just doesn't hold a candle to it when they were all built out, and we've got a lot more horsepower out of this one. So V6. Parts, Elite Platinum, obviously. Here's the gig. This is already a rowdy car, and the power to weight ratio is kind of unreasonable, so we don't need torque. You actually are hunting top speed because this thing doesn't have the same top speed as some of the other cars in S+. So you slap on the single turbo. It gives you the best overall redline tech and the highest top speed potential of the vehicle. So single turbo is what I'm going to go with there, and then Elite Platinum, everything else. And then you can put any transmission you want. It doesn't actually change the top speed, any of you guys. So you can do the 4-speed and run that, but it's S+, and so Elite Platinum everything is kind of cool because not all the cars can do that. So I have the 8-speed in it, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, do you want to shift? If so, 8-speed. Do you not want to shift? If not, 4-speed. Do whatever you want. And then auxiliaries, yes. Handling slider, doesn't matter. You go drift, slide it that way. You want to go grip, slide it the other way. You just do you. Downforce all the way low, all the way high. It doesn't matter. It's S+. You can do whatever the hell you want. Overall, you get 906 on the horsepower with the single turbo, 717 on the torque. It's plenty torquey. We weren't chasing the low end. We were really chasing the big end. So that way with redline tech, you can do almost 230 with it in miles per hour. And so that was really the deal. And overall, guys, I would encourage you, if you're looking for a different S+ car to roll in, this is pretty fast. It's not as grippy as some. You're still going to lose to every Regera driver that knows how to drive the car. But overall, as far as like off meta, if the Regera and the R8 didn't exist, I'd throw my hat in the ring with this one. I like it. I think it's pretty solid. Jordy George and some of his guys drive it, and they're pretty fast in it as well. So shout out to the slow boys. Outside of that, thanks to Sly QT for helping me with the drift builds. Thanks to Lex for all the awesome thumbnails. And thanks to Unk RC for the beats. And thank you to all of you guys for watching the videos. I greatly appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Bye-bye.